Khazan, The Last Berserker, is a Soulsborne game based on the Dungeon Fighter Online universe, which I only know because of Google, since I ain't ever played that shit in my life. In order to describe Khazan, I need to paint a mental image here. Okay, imagine FromSoft was the OnlyFans girl who slinged the schlong of 100 edgy hornmeisters, but the 100 dudes are more like 7 different Soulsborne games. And while all their life liquid began the battle royale inside the Lucky Lady love canal, all the brave little soldiers fused together and somehow it ended with a game that has the DNA of every Souls game mixed inside. You're welcome. Here's a quick summary of the story. Khazan's best friend Ozma turned evil, and now Khazan is hunting him down to beat his ass because being evil is bad. The end. I know, pretty complex plot. Now let me get into the game. First, let's talk about the visuals of Khazan.
Don't be intimidated, Squidward. Try to imagine him in his underwear. Oh no, he's hot!
I will let Khazan spread me like misinformation on the internet. Don't get it twisted, fellas. The only rainbows I like are Skittles. This is simply called man-to-man appreciation, but I'd still let him pull my hair and call me a good girl while he's hitting it from the back. Oh yeah, I guess the rest of the game looks pretty cool too. It might be a little too anime for some of you, but that's fine. Anyway, the structure of the game is pretty similar to Neo, but instead of just a menu, there's a hub world you enter before you pick a mission off the map menu. Now let me talk about the level design for a sec, because it's honestly pretty nice. There's a lot of land to explore, but not so much to get terminally lost in. Any side road off the main path usually loops back around to the bonfire anyway, so I don't gotta worry about overcommitting to one area, but having a headache about finding my way back to the main path. Some of the shit the devs cooked is straight up vile though. Like, what the fuck is this nightmare-inducing circus act? Most of the time it's just an army of archers shooting from behind a wall of overly enthusiastic close-quarter combat experts playing goalie, and to whoever is feeding these spear guys, you need to stop. They're way too fucking strong to be random enemy number 8 patrolling the area on a Tuesday afternoon. These guys gotta be huffing creatine inside their helmet or something. But yeah, the exploration is pretty decent, although I would have liked to get a little more lost. Sometimes. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just trying to be unfindable. Only sometimes though. Now I get to talk about the jewel of the game. The combat. It's fast, it's fluid, it's responsive, it's versatile, it's flashy, but screw all those words. This shit's fun. Really tickles my fancy. Like any Souls game, you got a light attack and a heavy attack, but Khazan's got some multi-daddy DNA in its veins. You also got the perfect dodge and focus points from Wukong, the perfect guard from Liza P, counters from Sekiro, and the versatility and combo game of Neo jammed together as somehow it works. It all seems overwhelming at first, but eventually you'll get the water flowing and then you'll be making waves. Look, at least it's not Neo 1-for-1 and it's multi-stance rhythm game exorcism simulator edgefest. Neo makes as much sense to me as a death metal screamo band with a mute vocalist. Khazan's like Neo but after a Snickers bar. Anyway, Khazan's got 3 weapon types to fondle your enemies with. Dual wielding axes that are all about being agile and hitting it from the back with a great sword for the guys who want to believe they're not overcompensating for something, and the spear is for those guys who just want to run in, hit a few times and get out, like the guys on Tinder or Grindr if you're a young hustler. They all got their own skill trees too. Don't worry, it ain't rocket science or none of that mumbo jumbo or anything similar to the PoE spiderweb aneurysm. If you played Wukong, you know what's up. There's like 5 different categories to invest in. You got a swift attack, aka your light attack. You know, it's pretty fast, but it hits like mid-pizza. It's aight, but like it could be better. Your potent attacks are code word for heavy attack. They're pretty slow. It's like the people who argue on X as a hobby, but at least it hits hard. There's some follow-ups for your counter, stuff for your dodges, some shit for your guarding. Some shits are active, you gotta manually trigger. Some shit's passive, so it just does its stuff in the back. Khazan's combat is all about throwing out the longest combo you can whenever you get the chance. Luckily, there's a lot of moves that snap together if you do it right. Normally in a Khazan fight, you dodge and block for a while, weaving in some small hits here and there, and then eventually you get that shining moment when you can either counter a burst attack or you break the boss's stamina and you get a brief window to go completely bonkers with the boo-boos on the boss man, or go berserk as some might say. The armor system in the game is pretty whack. Most of your armor will have 3 sets of numbers that send shivers down your spine of those of us who are allergic to math. The big numbers are the overall attack or defense. The bigger number equals better gear. Underneath are the random stats, and beneath those are the set bonus stats. As you keep playing and collecting, you realize whatever you choose to cover yourself with doesn't actually matter. Like, there's a lot of buffs, but none of them are exclusive. Almost every armor piece has a set bonus with some sort of stamina regen or a minuscule damage boost. It's the same feeling as when that one McDonald's employee gives you an extra chicken nugget and you start feeling a special bond between your relationship as a customer and employee, but then it hits you that he's been doing that shit to everyone because he's too lazy to count. But almost every armor set is sharing the same buffs, it don't feel special anymore. Alright, you and I both know there's only one reason we play Soulsborne games. I mean, there's a few reasons, but only one main reason we play Soulsborne games. And that's to escape the existential dread of living in a generation with a declining economy due to the political power play, social anxiety becoming a new plague, the rise of loneliness in both men and women due to the increased value of social interaction through the internet, the extinction of love and romance as a concept in the dating space, and witnessing a generation of people whose only marketable skill are TikTok dances and self-victimization. Nah, I'm playing. It's for boss fights.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
This is that point where I'm gonna say some shit you don't like. Boss fights in Souls games are like the jam in the center of those cookies your mom always bought you as a kid. You know the ones. Got that like strawberry filling. It's the best part. First off, the boss designs visually are mucho fuego all across the board. But looking stare-atable can only get you so far. Some of the bosses were so good and beating my ass, I started wondering if they were hiring so I could jump in on the next guy. The others were like sifting through a box of those expensive assorted Christmas chocolates that nobody likes as you try to find a flavor that at least tastes edible. Seriously, why did they buy those? There were genuinely some good fights in the beginning. You know, shit that you'd expect from a game called the First Berserker. They were intense, the bosses were aggressive, they all had their own unique gimmick, it was cool. My abilities as a gamer were getting put to the test. Most importantly, I was having fun. I was just getting to hit shit. The worst thing is that they raised my expectations for the rest of the game. That should drop like Ubisoft stock after saying I don't own my games. Of course I own my games. I pirated them myself. The middle section of the game was harboring some of the shittiest boss fights, like fugitives trying to hide from the refund button. When the coast was clear, they started appearing one after the other like trailers at a movie theater. Here's a rundown of how bad the nosedive is on these bosses. Element's fight is like punching a hole in the wall and injuring your meat beating hand, only to find out that the wall don't give a shit about its new redesign. I'm the only one losing HP while she stands there in permanent defense mode. There's an armor set that makes your damage penetrate your shield, which is great, but it's like the only time in the game you need to wear a specific set of armor to lay hands on the boss. Like it's mandatory. Like you have to wear it. Walking into this fight without the armor set is like strolling in without her consent for you to fight back. This fight alone ruined the value of the game by about $20. The battles against the boss baddies, Jellyfish Princess Traka, and the goth mommy Bellarine, bitch, were rife with hot ass. It both ways. Yeah, they're both very stare-atable, but that's where the positives end and the positively negatives begin. If you like dodgeball, then these fights might be fine for you. However, if you don't like tag when you're always it, then somebody on the dev team needs to get fired. Chasing bosses around, trying to get a hit in, only for them to TP across the map or some shit, is some stale-ass design. At least to me. Hismar's fight is the Hannah Montana of boss fights, combining the best of worst worlds to create the worst fight in the game, hands down. Really fucking big with a broken camera. I don't know how so many games can have a boss battle against some giant enemy that barely fits on the screen, breaking the fucking camera, driving everyone insane because the fight isn't fun, and then some dev sees it and is like, oh, I could do that too. Like, it's not even hard. His moves are pretty simple, like they're straightforward. It's just a huge waste of time. He has so much health, but you can never hit him. Like, I could have been ringing my bell again to Bellarine. Like, I gotta wait 5 minutes just to get like 2 hits in. It's like trying to watch a YouTube video, but there's a 3-minute ad every 30 seconds. Well, you don't gotta worry about that with today's sponsor. If I had one. Gotcha, didn't I? Like and subscribe. The end game bosses are pretty solid for the most part. Scalpel got one of the coldest moves I've ever seen in the game. Bro was using a coffin as a moped to run me down. Extra points for the mission complete fake out. That shit got my ass clenching. Reese is hands down my favorite boss in the game. Probably got the best moves out of everybody. She's got the perfect blend of long range mage and aggressive melee fighter that kept pushing me to keep pace. Her constant switch ups and her mix up keeps the fight engaging, but it also made it really challenging. And you know what? That shit's pretty fun. Ozma's fight is like playing Reese's fight, but on double time with 10 times the edginess, which means it's pretty good, but also you're not really being original. There's also a secret third phase that you can get if you pick the right answer during Book Girl's pop quiz. Okay, now look, personally, I found Ozma to be kind of a letdown. Cause like the early game guys were like beating my ass, you know, and then this guy took me like 4 tries. It was pretty easy compared to Reese. Like he really didn't live up to like the bad guy moniker, you know, like the big final boss. He just didn't seem as over the topable as a final boss should be. Still, fight's pretty cool. When you copy greatness, you can only be great. Now it's the end of the video. Okay, thanks for watching this far. Here's the little conclusion. If you're looking for a solid Soulsborne experience, whether you're new or you're a veteran, then I'd say this game will deliver. It's got a cool art style if you're into anime. If you're not, well, fuck off. It's got some super addictive combat to go with it. Probably the best combat that I've played in a Souls game. It might seem complex at first, but when you get it down, you get hooked. It's like a gateway drug. And then you'll play every other Souls game and then be slightly disappointed. The bosses were a little up and down, like a little eh. But I ain't about to judge you if Pokemon Master Bellarine was your favorite trainer battle. But if it's Elebane, I'm definitely going to judge you. And I know I didn't really go into the story that much, but it's like a pretty straightforward revenge story. And we both know you're not loading up a Souls game for the narrative. Alright, buddy? So stop pretending. Anyway, yeah, that's my review. Like and subscribe. Alright, I'm out of here. Bye.